Welcome to the Fantasy Golf Bag Podcast, presented by FantasyGolfBag.com, your number one source for the most in-depth PGA Tour analysis in the daily fantasy and sports betting world. Each week, our experts will discuss everything you need to know, from the course preview and key stats to top plays, fades, and strategies. Whether golf betting, grinding out cash games, or playing for a big GPP win, our team has you covered. Let's get after it.
Welcome back, everybody, to a special edition of the Fantasy Golf Bag Podcast. It is your host, Axis, and I'm joined by Sky of the Golf Gurus today and special guest, Ryan Baroff. What's going on, guys?
Baroff, we've been waiting a long time to get you on here, man. It's about time we set this up, especially with the biggest week of the year and you coming off your huge victory yesterday. So thanks for coming on.
Wait, we're not here to talk about Barbasol.
Ha! Man, you stole that joke. I had that one written too.
No. Thanks for having me on. We obviously go back and forth a lot talking Euro stuff. So hopefully we can have some things we agree on, and I know there'll be some things we don't agree on this week.
No, we are here to talk about Ken Duke winning the Barbasol. That's
a lot. Just double it.
That is why we have come together. But yeah, it should be great. I don't know. I go back and forth. This and the Masters is my favorite. Like, I think whenever this and the Masters roll around, since they're so far apart, I feel like they shift in my order. But, I mean, nothing like 2 a.m. on a Thursday morning and just watching some old geezer poke one out there on a links course to start it off.
Can't wait. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, no, it's great. This is one of my weeks where I spend some nights on the couch because I know I'll be getting up early. So,
yeah, smart.
Could be some long days ahead. So just to kick it off quick, we're going to discuss some of our outrights, and then at the end of this get into discussing some Draftkings as far as potential ownership and fades and chalk and people like Lucas Glover who you just don't want to play when everybody else will be playing him. So, or maybe some chalk will be eating too, because there'll be some pretty popular guys that'll be hard to get away from, I'd imagine.
Absolutely.
So I guess I'll start it off with my card. Right now, I'm sitting on JT at 25 and 45, Bryson at 45, Kuchar at 50, Xander 66. I have a regrettable Ty Hatton bet at 66, and we'll also have another one at 85, and Eddie P at 125. I know, Sky, I think we overlap quite a bit, and I'm not entirely sure where you're standing at right now, Baroff, if you want to run through yours.
Yeah, we definitely have a bit of overlap there. My first was Patrick Cantlay at 35. I have Xander also, but only 40, so very jealous of your 66. Matt Kuchar, 50. Ian Poulter, 80. Patrick Reed, 100. And Gary Woodland, 150 from, I think I mentioned earlier, I had bet him for all four majors this year, just hoping he would get one. So that bet has kind of already been won in my mind.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's all it takes. It's just one of the four, and it's a winning year. But yeah, no, I cross over kind of a combination of the two. I basically have everything Axis said, plus taking the 100-to-1 read that Ryan said as well. We didn't pull on Hatton just yet. I am eyeing that number, though, as he had a great week last week, kind of found it a bit. So I'm eyeing there. And then, I mean, I might as well start the controversy now. There's a links specialist who's arguably the best open player, probably outside of Rory, the last 5 years, who's really starting to call my name as he's creeping up close to 40-to-1. I know Axe said there's a 40 out there already. I may pull the trigger on Spieth.
But you need to tell me why, aside from just he's had decent success in the past, because he's also played better overall in the past.
But I mean, he wasn't playing better overall last year. I know he didn't win, but I mean, last year he literally came in very similar form. If you look at him last year, 42nd miscut, 32nd, 21st of lead-in form last year, and they still priced him at 20-to-1. I mean, to me, his performance at Bethpage, I know it was literally all putting. I know this year has been all putting, but I mean, Bethpage couldn't have set up any worse for him, in my opinion, for the style of golfer he is. And to have that third place finish, I mean, I would have thought he would have done better at Pebble too. But, I mean, he's gaining almost 2.5 strokes per round at Open Championships and links over the last, since the start of 2014. So to me, like, it's good. We'll talk DraftKings more on him, but I think 40, once you get there, that becomes interesting.
Yeah, for me, it's just hard. He did go through that stretch earlier where he was playing better. It did seem like the putter was carrying him, but he had a few good ball striking rounds in there. The problem is, I think what you mentioned, we expected him to do better at Pebble. Then he goes to the Travelers, which is, of course, pretty much tailor-made for him, and wasn't even close to making the cut. So, and of course, we haven't seen him since then. So I always have concerns about Jordan Spieth, but I think this is one of those situations where there are just too many good players around him at that same price or slightly below that. It's an ownership play potentially, but I will absolutely not be going there.
That's where I think the better argument might come into play is playing him at 8,900, where you're going to get him lower than 10%, and arguably, like I said, second best Open Championship player in the field. At 7.5%, just say if you have a single entry, it might even be lower. So that's where I probably weigh more. I just was interesting to see him knock down to 40 in Vegas.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You're not going to talk me into that one, I guess. He's negative off the tee and approach his last 22 rounds, and I can bet Cantlay at the same number. So I think that's where I have not added Cantlay to the card, but I keep staring at it and staring at it. I know. That might be the last one. We'll see what I do. I might just add it while we're talking, for all I know. But I think I'd much rather go there than Spieth. When we get to the ownership, I guess that's the only place you could talk me into using him. But even then, it would be sparingly, I think. Like, I don't know. You probably won't need to use him much to beat the field, I'd imagine. But
where I really do wish I made a difference is, I mean, you got the JT 45. I had a little bit of peace on 33, but I mean, I'm still not in love with the JT Bryson bets just based off of the last 9 months of kind of seeing where we bet them at when they were literally top 5 players in the world at the time, top 3 arguably, with JT. I think if I could take those two back, I saw Brooks at like 11-1 or 10 to 11-1 this morning. I mean, my bias, but if I had to narrow it down to just lay a hammer and take it and just do some bombs after that, I would be taking that double digits on Brooks if it's approaching there. It's too late now for me to do it, and I mean, I'm not going to, but I would sacrifice JT Bryson for a Brooks bet if anyone's looking for it out there. I
mean, I don't love the Bryson bet. We made that when he was hot fire. I guess if you'd let me refund it, that would be the one. I'd rather keep the JT one for sure. I don't know though. If I was laying a hammer, I'd probably. That's tough. Maybe Rahm at 15. I don't know.
It would definitely be Rahm at this point for me.
Yeah. I think if I was going to lay a hammer on anybody at the top, just a second Irish Open victory. I know there really wasn't any weather there, but I mean, it's coming for him. It has to.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this too a bit, is that I don't care what the conditions are like or, what people want to say. Links golf courses can be overpowered. And it takes someone who drives it long and straight and who hits irons like Rahm does. So he's the perfect candidate here, I think.
But why would you bet Rahm when DJ's 16-1 too? Just because he's won
form.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, form too. I think we've definitely seen DJ drop off a little bit. I don't necessarily put a lot of weight into, struggles at Pebble, but then he did have the miscut. Where was he? At Rocket Mortgage? Is that where he was? But
I don't think he wanted to be there. I
definitely don't think he wanted to be there. But as we mentioned, I do think recent form is huge here, and so I'm definitely not paying up for any of the top guys this week.
No, the reason I would avoid DJ at the same number was too. I think I have some. I don't know. It's a not a bias, but I remember. And I've seen DJ in majors, and I guess I'd give the leaning to Rahm, who hasn't won one yet, but at least he's super young. We've watched DJ puke away how many, and just something happens, and it's just I don't know. It can drive you nuts. So I think that's another reason I'd lean towards Rahm, not to mention the coming off a win. So
Absolutely.
I guess. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, do we have any like T20s? I know, Baroff, you said you threw a T10 on Hatton last night. I love the T20 market. I haven't really decided who, but please tell me you're throwing one on our boy Connor.
Potentially. I did mostly top tens last night, as you said. Basically backed up a few of my bets. Reed, Poulter. For the top 20s, though, I'm gonna steal probably a couple guys you guys mentioned last week. Andrew Putnam and Andrea Pavon.
Hey,
I think both
it.
of them. I think both of them really. A pretty strong ball strikers. Putnam is a hot fire putter, so that can kind of come and go. But I think there's a lot of kind of these European names that people are used to seeing. Pavon is not one of them, but as we've seen over the last year and a half, he's been very, very consistent, and he's shown upside. He got a couple of wins. And I think he was 9-1 for a top 20 and 22-1 for a top 10. So
nice.
I added those last night.
He's been good on links too. I don't have my database up in front of me, but he was a guy who.
Weekend he had too. His weekend was incredible.
Yeah, I had it's kind of a crap number, but I was kind of curious what Furyk was going to be for 20-1, but he's only sitting at 5.5.
But let me,
where I'm looking.
While you look that up, I'm gonna talk about our boy though, Connor Siem, right? Is how you pronounce it, actually?
Yeah.
Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
A Challenge Tour absolute stud. Links kind of aficionado for the Challenge Tour. Scottish kid. I'm seeing an 18-1 T20 that I think that'll be kind of the long shot that I'll go for if we're talking T20 there. Because he had qualified in that Open qualifier. There are some interesting names that got through the British Open qualifier. I guarantee pretty much everybody if you're following Adon's picks, he's going to be all over Shinkwin for that first round leader bet.
Of course.
First round Shink. But I think outside of that, I liked the Pavon call. Any thoughts on Audrey Arnaud? He's shown up the last couple of weeks a little bit.
I have trouble figuring him out. I feel like I had him pegged as a bomber a bit, and I guess I haven't seen the numbers enough and don't have a big enough sample size for me to have a ton of confidence in him. So I'll probably pass on him. And for this event too, we tend to stick with the older guys,
sure.
kind of when going in blind. So I think there's some names down there of kind of the savvy veterans, even if you want to take a shot at a guy like Patty Harrington, not going to win, but can he be around the top 20 this week? Sure, why not?
That opening round he had in Ireland was incredible.
That was insane, yeah.
Right? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't go back to Arnaud yet until. It does look like his soul is returning after Guido snatched it in Kenya. But
There it is.
And since we were talking about Pavon, he does, I believe last year he had a top 5 at the Dunhill Links. And then, of course, had a top 5 last week. So definitely some Links pedigree there with him.
What's Bobby
I was
Max
dumb. I was on him at the Irish, and I did not use enough of him last week again. So,
of course, yeah.
Stupid. I don't know. The T20 market, I guess I'd have to dig into a bit more. Just because off my overall ratings, I have some guys who are higher than I guess I anticipated. Sometimes you look at the numbers and you're like, oh God. But Billy Horschel is up there for me, mainly due to his form. But I don't know if I want to do anything with Billy Horschel at the Open.
Probably not. He seems like the kind of guy who may struggle with the elements and
the
those
T20
sorts of
number
things.
I'm seeing is kind of gross, 5.5. I don't.
I got a name for you. I don't even know if he's listed yet because he got in through the qualifier. Brandon Wu, right? We saw him play really well at Pebble. He won his qualifier in Ireland where he was, and clearly, and clearly a pretty good player. He's probably got to be in that kind of 18-1 range for a top 20, I'd imagine.
How gross.
All right, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, definitely don't know a ton about him other than, what we've seen in the last month and that he's been, a pretty good college player. But Yeah, that's an interesting one as well.
He's the reason I had to add a filter to my model because he was popping up near the top, but it only had 2 rounds.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think obviously first round leader, wait for the weather. I haven't gone through all the markets yet, though. I'm still trying to figure out if I wanted to add Cantlay or not. And then if I wanted to add my fear of missing out on Ricky, I couldn't decide if I wanted to burn that.
Oh God, hard pass. Hard pass.
I think I think the last major is the first one I didn't bet him in like 2.5 years.
I mean that kind of range of odds and kind of DraftKings play. Like, yeah, I will be putting a big black mark through Spieth and Fowler because literally everybody else in that range, from Stenson, Kuchar, Scott, Day, Hideki, Cantlay, JT, like all those guys, I would put way above those two. Yeah. Bryson, yeah, every single one of them.
Any thoughts on Fleetwood not having the pressure this year? I mean, he's been quiet. It's been a quiet year for him.
So quiet.
He's been quiet, but those last 2 starts have been better. And I know you guys have this more than I do, but I'm pretty sure he had some very good ball striking in Ireland, and struggled with the putter. Right?
He was of the guys in the field, so he was 7th in tee to green in Ireland. Let's see if we looked at ball striking specifically.
I mean, his approach, he was gaining 1.2 a round in Ireland.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's what I like to see, right? You know. So I think, I mean, for DraftKings, I do think he's very, very overpriced. But again, you know, this is the type of course he can contend on, and you're going to get him probably at that Spieth range, you know, 6, 7, 8% owned potentially.
I was gonna say, I guess I don't mind that. You know, sometimes the overpriced guys can be better when you're looking to, you know, be contrarian, because if you're okay with eating it and find like a Pavon that's slide in your lineup.
Yeah, I mean, let's not bury the lead here. JT Cantlay will probably be the 2 highest owned of the week. You can make arguments for some of the guys in the 7s that could get up there, but I think of these 9K guys, I mean, JT Cantlay could both push 20, 25, even more percent in some higher owned things. So I think anyone from Fleetwood to Xander to Molinari, they're all pretty good pivots off of them.
I don't know if I'm going to go back.
I think Molly's interesting, man. People aren't going to go back.
They're not going to go back. No.
I mean, if he's truly going to be under 10%, that's, definitely somebody in a multi-entry GPP that you have to consider. I mean,
yeah, Molly and Fleetwood, I would anticipate under 10%. I think Xander, I think people like playing Xander in majors. So I think he'll probably still get up to that 12 to 15% range, but I would definitely expect Molinari, Fleetwood, even Justin Rose, he could go pretty under-owned this week.
I can't not think about last year with Rose when he was like mega chalk and he finished 2nd after he made the cut on the number, making a birdie on 18, and then had an epic weekend. I was so pissed.
Yeah, shot 63 on Saturday, I think.
Yeah, and so, I mean, to be able to see someone like that when he was so chalk last year, I mean, he definitely was in better form coming into things last year. I mean, looked like he was 17-1, the second best odds on the field last year. But, yeah, I think that's another interesting play getting to Rose. I'm not normally a Rose backer, but if...
No, me neither, but he just finished 3rd at the U.S. Open, and we haven't seen him since. Right above, we're fading Tiger, correct?
I am.
Yeah, I'm not playing Tiger.
Same, yeah.
As much as I want, like it'll be like the Masters. I didn't play him, at least DraftKings wise, at the Masters either. But you know, as a fan, it was still enjoyable. Like it is what it is. So if he were to win again, I'd be like, awesome. But just the recipe of all these weeks off, colder weather. I don't know. Prove me wrong, I guess. But it just I can play Rose or pay $400 more for Hot Fire Rom. So
yeah, exactly.
While we're up there, how do you think the breakdown will go of Rory, Brooks, DJ, Rom?
Like, Rory number 1.
Yeah.
After that, I don't know. Probably Rom because he's so much cheaper.
Rom's 2nd. Are people going to let Brooks under-owned again?
Of course. Of course.
Yeah, he's
I mean,
played
you look
like
at his
ass
last.
lately.
Yeah, I mean, look at his last 2 starts too. I think that's what they're going to see. His links form is okay, right? He had a couple top tens here, but never really has contended in an Open. So yeah, I mean, I think Brooks will be higher owned than DJ, but he'll be Rory Rahm 1-2 for sure.
I mean, people do realize Ricky Elliott is caddy, he's a 2-time club champion at Portrush, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is his caddy playing, or is he?
Arguably, he might rely on his caddy like secretly more than anybody out there. Like he literally just shows up, probably.
I think there's
You're either going to hit it
big
long
edge
or
for
you got a
stuff
short
like that.
club. That's what Brooks said. You either got a club that's going to be long or a club that's going to be short. Pick it and hit it.
Yeah, no,
What a
there's
strategy.
definitely. Yeah, I mean, there's an edge for stuff like that.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I like that. I like that Rory, grew up here, but there's a couple of traps in that same mold that I think if people are trying to kind of overthink it, we've seen 2 bad weeks from GMAC, and he'll be over-owned here. So I think that would be one guy that I would think is pretty trappy and would have no problem staying away from him. And then
I'd rather play Lowry, right?
Well, I was going to say at the same price, I think people are going to go right back to Shane Lowry.
Yeah.
And I don't have it in front of me, but from what I remember, the last kind of month and a half, he's had a really hot putter, which is not traditionally Shane Lowry. So I guess it kind of depends on if he's on the right end of the weather draw as well. But, he's missed a lot of cuts in a row at the Open. And I know that he'll be popular, so probably have no issue staying away from him as well.
The putter has been hot, but the rest of
the irons,
the
right?
irons have
the
been
irons have been good too.
Off the tee has not been awful. I mean, it's been positive at least on the American side of things. The PGA but I don't, watching him, it's hard to say. If he's going to be super chalk, I'll go the opposite way. But
no, yeah, I mean, I would think he's not going to be above 12%, 12.
Like 14%. I can play Shane at that. I think. Like I don't.
Yeah, but he's not going to be like, oh, this is my 3% guy, which he was about a month and a half ago when he started playing well in the States.
So what do we think on Finau? I guess that's the guy in that range who had a better. I don't have a ton of rounds for him on links, but he played very well in the rounds that I have.
Yeah.
He's been a weird mess this year, though. Again, but he's
Finally showed
7,800.
a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I stayed away from him for the most part. Well, I mean, I stay away from him most weeks, when he's overpriced and he's always over-owned. I did see some stuff in Minnesota that was better. I think for Finau, it's going to, 1, depend on the weather draw, and 2, just depends on the course conditions. Not that, he's not a guy who can club down. We've seen him do that before. But Finau is just much more comfortable hitting drivers. And if it ends up playing that these guys are hitting 6, 7, 8 drivers around, I could get behind him here.
Yeah, the irons
that's
were
what I think
fire in Minnesota.
You can go ahead, Axis. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying the irons were fire in Minnesota. He finally broke his miscut streak.
What's just interesting about the course, and I'm still just trying to figure out and read everything I can, or if I see pictures from people there on Twitter, is like how it is going to play off tee, because the rough definitely is probably thicker than most of links courses that we see. I think of like 18 yesterday where Burned shanked that drive, and he still was able to get to the green in 2 from the thick stuff. What was the thick stuff, in Scotland? And again, congrats, Baroff, on getting through with Burned there with that 40-1 victory. But is that going to be the same type of thing here, at Portrush, or is it just much wider fairways where they can attack with drivers and they stay away? Like that's the Spieth argument. Like he's horrible off the tee, but if we're not going to worry about the rough, and it's just going to be more around the green game, like he's as creative as it gets, Reed as creative as it gets around the green, where that type of ball striking might not be as critical as it is in other weeks. Is the way I kind of look at it. I don't know.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. I think I'm definitely going to pay more attention to press conferences this week. I watched a couple of videos of like Rory playing some holes on the app or whatever, but I don't know when that was, if that was this week or a month ago or 2 months ago. So, but it didn't seem like the rough was that bad. I would expect it to probably be pretty challenging this week. So I will be watching every press conference I can throughout the week.
I was trying to figure out those videos too. I was like, man, he's playing right now in Scotland. How's he got these videos up there? Had to have been from a while ago.
Yeah,
but,
I would think so.
One note on Finau too is he did get 10th at Alfred Dunhill last fall. He did come over and play that. So that's another, and that was conditions. If you remember who won that?
Lucas, right?
Yeah. Well, Man Rocket won that. So there was conditions a lot on the weekend there. So that's interesting on Tony too.
Yeah, it just stuck out because I figured he has been pretty putrid, so I didn't think many people would play him. But again, at that price, maybe people will go back to his. He's been playing well in majors up until the last couple. And I mean, is Sergio going to be the magnet for ownership down there? I know Webb will probably be the guy.
Let's
right?
talk Webb.
Yeah, Webb. Yeah, I mean, I think Webb will be the guy, but I still think people will play Pepperell. People will play Poulter. People will play Reed and Hatton. I think there are some other guys. People will play RCB. He might almost be as high as Webb. Not quite.
Yeah, he could challenge Webb for that.
Because he's got 3 top 10s in a row, and as we mentioned, when the Irish Open was here in 2012, he finished second. So I think when people latch on to that, plus the form, plus they just like playing RCB, especially at majors. So yeah.
So do I. That sucks. Yeah, but this could be a week to be under. I don't know. These are start getting in this range. This is where I'll fade guys who are just going to be super popular, even if I like them. It's just a leverage play, I guess.
I agree with that, yeah.
The ownership on Webb at the U.S. Open was unbelievable. I knew I was eating chalk at probably 25 to 30%, but in some of the high dollar stuff, he was closing in on 50%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we saw that. Yeah, I mean, Webb and Stenson were right there, kind of mid-sevens at Pebble Beach, and Stenson got the price bump and Webb didn't. So, yeah, I mean, Webb will be the highest owned for cash games. I think you're going to see a lot of teams that are going to be basically Webb RCB down low and then Kuchar JT Cantlay. That's going to be kind of the start, and then, pick a fifth guy. I got a couple names, and this could probably be more of an MME type thing for you, Axis, but Zach Johnson and Alex Noren.
Pass.
A couple guys with very good links records who are just bad, but maybe have been playing a little better recently. ZJ not as much. Noren's been making cuts again, which has been nice, but both of them pretty strong links players overall.
I guess my concern with Noren would be his irons are just gone.
He's been terrible. Yeah, absolutely terrible.
And he's someone I liked to back when he was in form. It was, because he can putt well too. At least ZJ, his irons have not disappeared. He's just been playing very middling golf, if you will. Mm-hmm. So I guess between the two, I'd rather play ZJ. Again, if weather comes up, older golfer has won an Open. He a lot of experience over the years. I guess I'd lean ZJ. I don't really have any intention on using him at the moment. But I think, you start getting down here, I don't know if you'll really have to be... I think this low, you can almost play anybody you want.
Absolutely.
I think
there's
Byrne
a lot of...
will attract some attention.
Yeah.
After what's happened.
Burn definitely will with the 2 wins.
Maybe
I think
EVR too.
I think still Andy Sullivan will get a little love, maybe not too much, but who else was down there?
Van Nooyen's 7,100. That seems like... if people just look up again, recent history.
Yeah. The guy who burned me last year, Brandt Snedeker.
A
pretty strong
yeah,
pretty strong links player. And then your bounce back candidates from last week, Kisner and Hautong. Both of them are down there. And I feel like for your own peace of mind,
I have to play Kisner.
You have to play them again after playing them last week. So
yeah, last week was more of just a field play. Kisner's better than a majority of that field. He was 8K. He just didn't show up. So it is what it is.
I took a look at just the strokes gained field differential in the Open Championships and kind of combined it with a little bit of bent grass putting for a side incorporation model. And those people that you talked about, that you brought up Baroff right there. So we look at the top 6 in the model there. It's Spieth, Xander, Haotong, ZJ, Ricky, and then Noren are all top 6 in that model. So like that's only looking at Open Championships since 2014 plus bentgrass putting. Like it's just kind of, you're seeing a lot of out of form guys. I mean, arguably Haotong the Assassin, shout out my boy Tom Norwood for that one. But like outside of him, like the other guys are really out of form, it seems like. But you know, they're the reason that's going to be low owned.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, contrarian, you're going to play guys who are out of form. Like that's why no one else is using them. Oftentimes, it's very rare you're just finding complete gems that no one else is aware of.
For sure.
Trying to prognosticate who's gonna. Yeah, who the conditions lend to snapping out of it, if you will. So,
I'm looking a little bit more at this Spieth. So if you look who's priced right around Spieth, it's JT, Cantley, then Spieth, then Scott, who's arguably going to be extremely high owned too, Kuchar, all surrounding him. Spieth may be like 3%.
Enjoy it.
Yeah, for the high end, I mean, higher buy-ins and the single entries, I would say 5% is a pretty accurate number. Of course, Millie Maker stuff, he'll still get a little bit of love.
Yeah.
All right. So as we dip down, is there anybody in like the 6K? Okay, say you want to really piece together 2 studs up top. Like, obviously, I'm going to be avoiding Lucas Glover at 6,500. I know Baroff, you brought him up as well. I don't know how. I mean, I still don't think he'll be like, 7-8%, but that's more than enough to not use Lucas Glover.
Yeah, people are going to play their kind of known commodities. When they don't know all the Euro guys, they're going to play Glover. They're going to play the Kyle Stanleys of the world. They were going to play Charles Howell. I know he just withdrew. So yeah, I would definitely expect that. In terms of the guys that I'm targeting, we mentioned. Andrew Putnam and Andrea Pavon. I think those are a couple of pretty good options. Really low there. Our guy Jorge Campillo, he's still down there. He struggled a little bit. A very interesting one for me is Ryan Moore. I am normally very, very firmly anti-Ryan Moore, but he's coming off a pretty good week at the John Deere, which he normally has. And I don't have it in front of me, but I feel like he's played okay in 1 or 2 opens before. So maybe you can correct me on that, but interested in him.
I have horrible news for you. He's not playing.
He's not playing? What happened?
He got in the field and he chose not to play. So what? I don't know. Yeah.
So he did the Charles Howell. That's what Charles Howell did, right?
Yeah, but him and Piercy. Piercy isn't coming over to play either. I don't understand why.
What on God's green earth?
All right, good. Don't play Ryan Moore, guys. All right, well then let's go back to the Euros. I've been playing Paul Waring for about 2 months now.
Yeah,
he's good.
I like Paul Waring too. What about Jazzy Jazz?
He's been great. Yeah, I don't know about his link stuff. I mean, he played well at Bethpage. I feel like he likes to hit drivers though, so I guess we'll see how that goes.
I think as far as like Euro guys, I mean, Thomas
Adrian
at 7K is intriguing to me.
Don't get me off going.
I'm just saying, it's appealing. I saw our boy Justin Harding. They gave him a ID pass with his Asian Draftkings picture.
Good. No, exactly.
Gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, Oliver Wilson been playing well. Brandon Stone, great Lynx player, seems to be playing well again. So that's interesting. And then one other name.
I mean,
yeah. What about Corey Connors?
Yeah, he. I don't think he'll do. I don't think he'll find my teams this week. I find him hard to peg. Like,
he's been here for a while. Apparently, I guess he has family in Ireland. I was seeing on Twitter and Instagram. He was playing Old Head and some other places. He was visiting family, and so I don't know if that's worth anything. But he's been here for a while. So
I guess that leads me to another guy, then Abraham Answer, who I used at the Irish Open, and Sky had talked about on the pod. He had made mention he intentionally didn't play the Scottish Open to stay in Ireland to continue playing those more style courses. So I think he's intriguing at 7,200.
Yeah, now that you mention it, could be a good week just to fire off some MME stuff and like make 100 lineups or something.
There's a ton of guys I love this week. There's a lot of golfers that I like to play that are playing well, and it's going to be very difficult for me to avoid using them.
Yeah, but I think in that same light, there are a decent number of guys who you can take firm stances against. We mentioned Tiger, Spieth, Fowler. I don't like G-Mac. So I think there's enough that kind of you can take some firm stances and whittle this field down a little bit. Should we talk winner?
Yes, we should.
All right.
It'd be a good way to wrap it up. Unless Sky, you have anything to add?
One more before the winner. He missed the cut. I think a lot of pressure probably was on him, but Bobby Mack, Robert McIntyre, 67-100. He's still ball striking like a menace. He just hasn't been able to putt the last couple weeks. I would mix him in if I'm MMEing personally, just because I think he's talented and links player.
So on FanDuel, he's the stone minimum. So nice. I will be having him over there. Goodness. Yeah.
I want to check out Yahoo's got like a pretty interesting 10 max, like 10K up top.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good one as
those kind of things you find like those diamonds in the rough. I'm in, but let's talk winner.
I'm gonna go last.
All right. It doesn't have to be anybody on your card. All right, so I'll go first. I think the only thing holding me back on this guy is I tend to like players who have had top 10s in Open Championships before. This guy's only played one, and it was 12th, but I guess I'll give him a pass for that. But my pick to win is Patrick Cantlay.
Interesting. I have nothing bad to say about it. My biggest decision will be what do I do with a very chalky Patrick Cantlay in DraftKings.
I never play Cantlay either, especially because he is overowned and he's usually overpriced. But I think this is the one week where he is absolutely underpriced.
Severely.
So I will go ahead and eat some of that chalk.
If I'm laying my hammer on one, if I had to really pick, obviously it's no fun to just say Brooks here, so I'm not going to say him. But I really like Xander. I do. I mean, he's shown up, in 2 British Opens. He's obviously shown up in major championships. I think he is, again, really close. He of course, had 3rd at the U.S. Open. I mean, he's just there every time. He's there every single time, and people are onto it. But he's still 9K. The 66-1 we got a while ago, all 3 of us are still on, with you at 40. I think it's his time, so I'll say Xander.
I like it.
This is tough. The guy I wanted to pick also has never really done well in an Open, so I'm not going to go there. So I'm just going to kick myself in the shin again, and I think I'm going to go with Adam Scott. It worries me. It worries me that he hasn't played recently.
Oh boy,
he's been so good. And he's played very well at Opens, especially recently. He missed the cut in the last one, but before that, he's T17. Sorry, but he's had so many top 10s in them. I know he just doesn't win, but I don't know. I keep looking up here, and I feel like Rory narrative. I'm not going to pick Tiger. DJ doesn't do it for me. Like, it came down. Rahm was the other guy, but he's never really shown up in an Open, but he's young. So I guess that could be the pass there. But I'll stick with Scott. I'll go with Adam Scott.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, no, this is a fun show. I'm just praying now we get the weather to come through. That's all I want to see.
I do not want it to be 20.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's the number one advice for everybody. Don't get tunnel vision until Wednesday. Look for the most up-to-date weather report. Do not build your lineups until Wednesday night because you're going to make yourself crazy trying to move them around in the morning. So.
I'm pretty sure you already sent us your lineup, though, that you've already locked, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, of course.
We're
absolutely
close.
We're
basically at lock.
Yep. No, that one's locked. No need for weather there.
Awesome.
Oh, man.
Well, good luck. Thanks for joining us, Baroff, and it's fun having you on. We'll try to do this maybe some more often for some of these Rolex events coming up in the fall.
Yeah, sounds good, gentlemen. Good luck this week.
Take it easy.
Thank you. You too, man. Good luck in the 3K.
All right.